Hi everybody, this is Kaahwa. I teach economics and business at Alperton Community School in Northwest London. I'm here to share with you a few ideas on assessment for learning, which I found very useful. My colleagues have found the same very useful too, and we hope you would find them useful in terms of assessing your students, checking for gaps in their understanding and knowledge. We've used these tools in lessons, we've used them in remote learning, and they've been absolutely wonderful. I hope you would find them useful too. The first one is Pear Deck. Pear Deck allows you to convert Google Slides into very active, useful resources within the lessons. And this is how it works. When you add Pear Deck onto your Google Slides, you allow students to answer questions within the slides themselves. You're able to monitor their progress. And I'll demonstrate this by sharing a screen with you, and you can see how this works in real life practice. Now, this is a slide that you're looking at right now. This is a question within one of the slides that I've set up for the students. And the students right now as we speak are actively answering this question. I've just picked out a few of those. And this here, for instance, deliberately 4 students answering this question, but 3 are active, 1 of them is not. And you can tell that from just down here where it says 3 out of 4 responses. So straight away, you're able to check who is not active in the lesson. The other part of it is, for those who are active, what are they actually doing? You are able to show responses here, and you check this either on the teacher dashboard, where you can actually do this and you're able to click on each of the students' work and see what progress they're making. You're able to check for gaps in their knowledge and straight away address those gaps without having to wait for the end of the lesson when the gaps are perhaps wider at that point. You're able to give feedback to each of the individual students and scroll through all of them, checking also the other person who wasn't answering questions, and you're able to address those issues instantly. The other bit is you could actually lock the screen so none of them is able to continue, especially if you realize that one of the issues is actually a widespread issue across the class. And the last bit about Pear Deck, and again, there's so many things you could do with it, but one of the other aspects I wanted to share with you is that at the end of the session, when you click end, you're able to actually download individualized PowerPoint slides, which in this case are Google Slides, with the individual answers that each student gave. And these are very good for the students to take home, to reflect, and also for you to address and use as evidence in terms of the progress that students are making within your lessons. And I hope that will be very useful for you. The last one I want to share with you is a tool called Quizlet, and particularly Quizlet Live. I find that extremely helpful because it's got an element of competition, very healthy competition, that allows them to collaborate together, especially if they're working as part of a group. So what do I mean by this? It's a question that is set up as a multiple choice question. They are set up in groups of, say, 4 or even 3. But when they answer these questions, each of them has different answers, but there's only one question. And so they now have to work together to find out who of the 3 actually has the correct answer. Let me just demonstrate what this looks like on the teacher's dashboard. Now, when you're the teacher, you're able to look at the progress for each of these students and for each of the groups. And this could be individual, it could also be as a group. I prefer to use a group because then you're able to allow collaborative learning. You're able to allow students to share their understanding, to discuss the answers before they come to a final conclusion. This is a live session going on at the moment. I just want to demonstrate that they need to then compete and see who gets to 12 first. Now, whoever gets it wrong, they then have to go back to 0, and they've got to continue working and demonstrate that they can actually get to 12. And as you can see in this session, the competition is still going on. And of course, we're looking at who is able to actually get to 12 before the other. But should any of them get the question wrong, the idea is they go back to 0 and they have to start again. So it's about getting 12 questions correctly consecutively. But the idea here also is that if you see in this session, we can now see that most of the students are moving at the same pace. So for that particular topic, you'd expect that the students are actually working well for that topic. But the other thing you can use for the same is to see the spread out. If you have a few people approaching 12, while the rest of the class is actually down towards the zero, then you probably need to stop the quiz and address the shortcomings within the lesson. And so those are some of the tools that I found very helpful. And again, it will be quite interesting to hear what you have to say about the same and what the ones that you've actually used yourself. Thank you very much for your time.